Hi everyone. I just wanted to talk about this new Colombo plan, um, the background of it. It was signed by initially Nehru with the US government and to make China the boogeyman. And let me educate most people. The If you've seen the movie The Last Emperor, it gives a very detailed account of how the monarchy in China fell. And the biggest, allegedly, or the biggest, or the anarchists in the world today are the Jews. They do not really um, believe in the monarchy as such, um, or any monarchy government. So, for example, what happened in Russia was the Bolsheviks were funded by the Jews, prominent Jews in America and Europe. So the ones that we know of allegedly are the Rothschilds. They are a very old uh, Jewish family and have tremendous clout financially on the globe today. The British government, uh, or the British Raj, built the Indian Railways network and infrastructure for India with the help of Rothschild's money. And it wasn't uh, until a recommendation came from the Catholic Church that he got the title Lord Rothschild. Now, Nehru became Prime Minister just because he was nominated by Mahatma Gandhi. He was never, in my books, a loyalist to this country. Um, he was a contemporary of King George the Sixth. They were the same batch in Trinity College. They were very close friends. Um, Jawaharlal Nehru also had a relationship with uh, Lady Edwina Mountbatten. I'm told that in photographs by the Birla family in Kolkata, they have pictures of Nehru kneeling at her feet and looking at her adoringly. So, the relationship was helpful to establish that the China was the boogeyman and India needed to sign the Colombo plan. China was the Mao government was funded again by the Rothschild family. They have very deep ties with the Chinese, and for years, for so many decades, and they treasure that relationship. The idea is to make eventually Asia to be one colony so that the Jews don't have to keep negotiating with different nations and their laws, etc. And since the Chinese are their favorite, they have invested trillions with them and etc. The Chinese government is obligated to them. Plus, in the recent past, the the attacking of the Uyghurs, the the Rohingyas have been allegedly funneled by the Jewish government and their contemporaries. Their hatred towards us, Islam, is deep and goes back few centuries. Their resentment to not having their own country and that Islam overtook what is present day Palestine. What happened is the Jews were thrown out of their country 2000 years ago, 3,000 years ago. They did not have a nation. And in time, the rise of the Ottoman Empire came into being, and they took over that part. They took control of the entire Middle East. Was under their control. They were one of the most strongest empires that stayed to the end, and eventually they were unconquerable, that they got incorporated into the Paris Treaty because of the oil reserves. And so to this day, Turkey is part of the UN. I want to bring this big picture currently to what India is going through. With 1947, the Second World War ended, or was won by with the help of the American government, and they made UK sign what we call the Marshall Plan agreement, in that UK would be subservient to the United States of America. The German government would also be totally subservient. They would not even make furniture, which meant that they would not be making arms. And at this point, Israel became a government, and they took over Palestine. Let me say that most of the people living in Palestine were Jews. It's just that they were left for so many centuries alone that they got absorbed into Islam. So they are killing their own in current day. The onset of Israel becoming a nation and India becoming a nation began the relationship of helping Israel financially through the Chinese aggression, etc., Pakistan aggression, where India purchased the arms, the guns needed for these wars from Israel. This began the long-term relationship, and which makes one wonder whether these wars were really necessary. They were only necessary to aid, financial aid to Israel, and to make it a powerful nation. thanks to India. The Rothschilds feel obliged that um, their investment in India, because of their investment in India, they kind of feel they own this country, which is rather ridiculous in my books. Um, Creating the boogeyman China, the fall of the last emperor, his fall to the Japanese empire, and it was all very convenient. The rise of Mao government, and he ended up being a gardener, and he died. Nobody knows anything about him, and it's a very sad thing because the Israelis really hate anything that is greater than them. And I would say that from my personal experience, my family dates back to 232 BC from my father's lineage. We come from the Nambudri Ayurvedic line, the time of Ashoka the Great and the Chola dynasty. And this carried on even to the 1800s. In between, my ancestor became part of the ruling party, part of the ruling rulers of North Malabar from the 12th to the 18th century till Hyder Ali came. On one side, Hyder Ali is anti-British, on the other side, he's an ally, and I can't figure, in Tamil Nadu history, he's against the British, and then he becomes a British ally, and he takes over Malabar, annexes it to Mangalore, and Mangalore gets annexed to his kingdom, and that is the end of any kind of Ayurvedic trade that we had. Nobody knows anything about it. We're all pretty clueless what we learned along the way, or what our families, mothers teach us. That's it, and we have no idea of this trade because the Basil missionaries came in and changed everybody's trade to the Mangalore tiles, and that is how everybody left their old trades, converted to Christianity, and that was the end of the beginning of the end. The culture was never maintained. The thing was to destroy anything that was that ancient. However, the lineage had to be dealt with, and my father, again, the same thing. What happened to me is his father was used to get rid of his ancestral property, and then that was very old. The ancestral property was just taken away when he was a minor. He was made to be, financially in a situation where his mother had to fend for him and do college, and she did. She was a terrific mother as far as that is concerned. My father finished his MA from Madras University, University of Madras. I didn't know that he was a Madras University graduate, and I also became a Madras University graduate and undergraduate, and I wanted to do my MA, but there was a lot of manipulation that it wouldn't happen. So that story for another day. But we're talking about how this Colombo plan has been activated by Nehru. Nehru was a contemporary of King George VI, and they both went to Trinity College. He had a fantastic rapport with him. He was loyal to the crown. He was